The message arrived encoded in a frequency no human system officially acknowledged. I was halfway through recalibrating the atmospheric processors on Outpost K-47 when my console froze, the lights dimmed, and a symbol burned itself across every screen in the control room, a sigil formed from intersecting arcs of silver light. I had seen it once before. The imperial crest of the Avarith Dominion. I hadn't expected to see it again. 3 years earlier, humanity had narrowly avoided open conflict with the Dominion. The Avarith were ancient, biologically resilient, technologically superior in several key areas, and unified beneath a single sovereign ruler, the Empress Veloria T-Charwenen. Officially, the Dominion had no interest in Earth beyond cautious trade agreements. Unofficially, they were studying us. And I had been part of the team that first deciphered their atmospheric terraforming equations that saved a failing Avarith colony. My work earned quiet recognition in diplomatic circles. It also put my name into Imperial archives. The console chimed. A voice emerged, calm, resonant, undeniably alien. Dr. Adrian Hale. By decree of her radiance, Empress Veloria T-Charwenen, sovereign of the Avarith Dominion, you are summoned. I leaned back slowly in my chair. Summoned, I repeated to the empty room. Not requested. Not invited. Summoned. A starship arrived within the hour. It did not descend like human craft. It unfolded, a structure of interlocking crystalline blades separating from invisibility, bending light around itself as though space objected to its intrusion. A corridor of luminous energy extended from the ship to the outpost platform. No escort team. No visible weapons. Just inevitability. I left a message for Earth Command before stepping forward. If I don't report in 72 hours, assume I've been conscripted, assassinated, or married off, I muttered. The corridor hummed beneath my boots. Inside the vessel, gravity shifted subtly, calibrating to human tolerances. The interior resembled grown marble infused with flowing veins of gold light. The air carried a faint metallic sweetness. An Avarith envoy awaited me, tall, silver-skinned, eyes like molten copper. The Empress values punctuality, the envoy said. She'll be pleased. I didn't stop for coffee. The envoy blinked, uncertain whether humor was a threat. We depart immediately. The ship folded space. Stars blurred into a river, and Earth vanished behind us. The imperial capital of the Avarith Dominion orbited a blue-white giant star, its light refracted by a lattice of orbital constructs that turned the system into a crown of fire. The palace was not built. It was carved from a mountain of obsidian crystal rising from an ocean the color of liquid amethyst. When I was escorted into the throne chamber, I understood something immediately. This was not a diplomatic meeting. This was judgment. The chamber spanned a kilometer, its ceiling lost in shadows pierced by vertical shafts of starlight. Nobles lined ascending tiers along the walls, their garments shimmering in iridescent layers, their gazes sharp with curiosity. At the far end stood the throne, and upon it sat Empress Veloria T-Charwenen. She was taller than any Avarith I had seen, her silver skin etched with faint luminous patterns denoting lineage. A crown of articulated metal arcs hovered above her head, orbiting slowly like captive moons. Her eyes fixed on me. They were violet, not warm, not cruel. Measuring. Dr. Adrian Hale, she said, her voice amplified without visible mechanism. You understand why you are here. I'm hoping you're about to tell me. I replied carefully. A ripple of whispers traveled through the nobles. The Empress descended the steps from her throne. You possess genetic resilience uncommon among your species, she said. Your atmospheric models demonstrated adaptive cognition beyond projected human parameters. That's flattering, It is factual. She stopped an arm's length from me. My daughter requires a mate. The chamber fell silent. I waited for clarification. None came. You're joking, I said finally. The Empress did not blink. I do not engage in humor during governance. My pulse spiked. With respect, I said slowly, I am not a candidate in any interstellar marriage registry. You are now. The word struck like a gavel. My daughter is heir to the Dominion. Our lineage must strengthen. The war with the Kael'rith fractured our genetic stability. Cross-species integration with resilient stock is strategically sound. Strategically sound, I repeated. You're asking me to marry her for genetic diversification. I am ordering you. A chill slid down my spine. Around us, nobles watched with avid intensity. I straightened. With equal respect, Your Radiance, humans don't respond well to being ordered into marriage. Her violet gaze sharpened. You misunderstand. This is not a request for your culture's approval. Then what happens if I refuse? The chamber temperature seemed to drop. You will not. It was not threat-laden. It was certainty. Behind her, a door of shifting light opened, and she entered. The princess. The princess. Princess Lyriel T. Charwinen did not look like someone who needed saving. She moved with deliberate grace, her long white hair braided with metallic threads that chimed softly as she walked. Her eyes mirrored her mother's violet hue but held something else, something sharper. Curiosity. Defiance. She studied me openly. This is the human? She asked. Yes, the Empress replied. Lyriel circled me once, as though assessing a rare specimen. You are smaller than expected. Most humans are, I said. A faint smirk touched her lips. My daughter has reviewed your biological scans, the Empress continued. Compatibility exceeds 73%. That's disturbingly specific. Lyriel stopped in front of me. You are uncomfortable, she observed. Is that surprising? No, she said. It is refreshing. The Empress's voice cut through. The binding ceremony will occur in 12 cycles. Hold on, I said quickly. You're making a massive assumption here. I make none, the Empress replied. You will remain within the palace until the ceremony. That sounds like imprisonment. It is protection. From what? From factions who would eliminate you to prevent this union. That shut me up. The political weight of the situation settled like gravity. This wasn't a romantic whim. It was a calculated imperial maneuver. Lyriel tilted her head. You may speak freely in my presence, human. Adrian. Adrian, she corrected smoothly. Do you object to the concept or to me? The question caught me off guard. I object to coercion. Her gaze flicked briefly toward her mother. As do I, she said quietly. For the first time, something cracked in the Empress's composure. Not anger, but tension. Duty supersedes preference, the Empress stated. Perhaps, Lyriel replied. But preference shapes loyalty. A charged silence filled the chamber. The Empress turned away. You will have time to acquaint yourselves, she said. But the outcome remains unchanged. She ascended back to her throne. The audience was dismissed. And just like that, my future had been rewritten. Middle, between command and choice. They assigned me quarters overlooking the Amethyst Sea. Guards remained stationed outside at all times. Not hostile, not friendly, immovable. Lyriel visited that evening without escort. You are pacing, she noted as she entered. I tend to do that when drafted into alien dynasties. She studied the ocean beyond the balcony. My mother believes in strength through control. And you? I believe strength requires consent. That's encouraging. She approached the railing. The Dominion is not as unified as it appears, she said. Several houses fear dilution of bloodlines. Others fear my ascension. And marrying me fixes that. It creates unpredictability, which destabilizes opposition. So, I'm a political grenade. A carefully selected one. I laughed despite myself. She turned toward me. You could refuse. I was told I couldn't. Refusal would trigger diplomatic consequences, she admitted. But it is not biologically impossible. And what would you prefer? Her expression shifted, vulnerability flickering beneath royal composure. I prefer not to be traded like a resource. Good. We agree. Silence settled, but not uncomfortable. You saved a colony once, she said softly. Without demanding tribute. It needed saving. You did not exploit weakness. That's basic decency. It is rare. She stepped closer. If this union proceeds, she said carefully, I would not have it be hollow. I don't do hollow, I replied. Our eyes locked. Something unspoken passed between us, not obligation. Possibility. Days blurred into strategy sessions and private conversations. We debated governance models, genetic ethics, cultural fusion. The more we spoke, the clearer it became. She was brilliant and deeply constrained. One evening, alarms rippled through the palace. An assassination attempt. Not on me, on her. A sniper drone breached the outer shields, targeting the princess's transit corridor. It failed, intercepted by palace defense systems, but the message was clear. Opposition had escalated. The Empress summoned us both. This proves necessity, she said. The union proceeds. Lyriel stepped forward. Or, it proves coercion fuels rebellion. The Empress's gaze hardened. You underestimate the fragility of empire. And you underestimate the strength of choice, Lyriel countered. All eyes turned to me. I felt the weight of two civilizations pressing down. I won't marry under threat, I said finally. The chamber froze. The Empress descended slowly from her throne. You risk war. Then maybe war isn't prevented by forced weddings. Her violet eyes burned into mine. You presume much, human. I presume that loyalty gained through fear fractures eventually. A tense pause. Then Lyriel did something no one expected. She removed the air's circlet from her brow and placed it at her mother's feet. I will not ascend through coercion, she declared. Gasps echoed. The Empress stared at her daughter, shock, fury, and something deeper flickering across her features. You would abandon destiny? I would redefine it. The chamber trembled with unrest. Finally, the Empress spoke. You both challenge centuries. Yes, Lyriel said softly. We do. Ending. The choice that followed. The following days were chaos. Council debates raged. Some houses demanded my execution. Others saw opportunity in reform. And the Empress changed. She requested a private audience. No throne. No guards. Just mother and sovereign. You care for her, she said bluntly. Yes. And she for you. Yes. Yet you defy me. I defy coercion. She studied the horizon through tall crystalline windows. I built this empire from post-war ruin, she said quietly. Control ensured survival. Maybe now survival requires evolution. She turned to me. Would you still choose her if I rescind the order? I didn't hesitate. Yes. And if she chooses differently? Then I accept it. A long silence. Finally, she exhaled. Then the ceremony will not be binding. Relief flooded through me. It will be an offering, she continued. Publicly, she will choose. And privately? I asked. Privately, I will accept her will. The ceremony drew representatives from across the Dominion. No chains of law. No right of enforcement. Lyriel stood before the assembly, radiant beneath the twin suns. I was ordered to marry, she began. I refused. I was offered alliance. I considered. Today I choose. She descended the steps toward me. The crowd held its breath. Adrian Hale, she said clearly, will you stand beside me? Not as command, not as obligation, but as partner? I felt the enormity of the moment. I will. She extended her hand. And this time, it was not imperial decree that bound us. It was mutual choice. The Empress watched, not smiling, not stern, resolute. The union did not fracture the Dominion. It transformed it. Bloodline laws were amended. Cross-cultural councils formed. And slowly, opposition quieted, not through force, but adaptation. Later, alone on the balcony overlooking the amethyst sea, Lyriel rested her forehead against mine. You realize, she said softly, that my mother still expects strong grandchildren. I laughed. One revolution at a time. She smiled, genuine, unguarded. You were summoned as a strategic asset, she said, and stayed for you. Then perhaps my mother was correct about one thing. Oh, you were the strongest choice. The ocean shimmered below us. Stars burned above. I had not come seeking a throne, but I found something greater. Not power, not destiny imposed, but a future chosen. And that made all the difference.